Welcome back, everyone, to Football No Filter. I am your host, Brun Krak. Yes, we are here. We are live. We got to start off with George, right? George, we have to start. George, how are you, first of all?
I'm doing well, and you?
You're doing. I know that you're doing
A
okay. I'm
little, a
doing
little,
okay.
little congested
Yeah, from all the
from all the
dust. I
dust,
agree.
but we're all
Yes,
good.
me
We're all
too.
good.
And of course we have our friend Nelson. Nelson, one. Let's start with giving you the congratulations. Congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. That's very nice of you.
It's all about fair play, right, George?
All about fair play.
All about fair play. So Nelson gets his congratulations. He's coming back from unloading the dust from his scarves and his shirts. He's ready
I
to
thought he
rock
was,
and talk
I
about the
thought,
game.
I thought he, I thought he was driving in Marques Pombal or something.
He might be. You never know.
Yeah. Marquez the Union right now, like very right, right next to the Parkway.
All right. So let's go to the scores for round 32. We have Paz Ferreira Marítimo 1-1, Gil Vicente Braga 1-1. Nelson, I think you're gonna hit you hit on all your predictions so far.
Yeah, all of them.
All
All
of
of
them.
them.
You're getting close, brother. You're getting close. Portimonense 1, Moreirense 2, Porto 5, Farense 1, Santa Clara 1, Rio Ave 0, Tondela 1, Bolonense 3, Nacional 1, Benfica 3, Sporting 1, Boa Vista 0, Guimarães and Famalicão will play tomorrow. The table stands as Sporting 82, Porto 74, Benfica 70, Braga 60, Passos de Ferreira 50, Guimarães 42, Moreirense and Santa Clara and Bolonense all tied with 40 points in 7th place. Tondela in 10th with Gil Vicente with 36. Portimonense, Famalicão, and Marítimo tied with 12th with 34. Rio Ave 31, Boa Vista 30, Farense 28, and Nacional 25 points. George, is Nacional, they look just about done.
Oh, they are.
I said Nacional was done 2 months ago when I told you they were done.
Yep. Nelson, they are done or not done?
Completely done. Their last chance was today. They done. They have no chance. They 3 points behind the team above them. I think another three or
Five.
four,
No,
five.
5 points from 16th. Yes.
Yeah, they done. They are completely done. They have no chance.
Who's that? NC2494.
Well, yes, if people are wondering where Nelson is and why they can't see him, it's because of the Poeta. So that's why you can't see Nelson. So
Hey, I actually have a gift for Nelson. I know he's driving. No, actually, listen. Actually, it's from my. In case you don't know, I have a shirt collection.
yes.
So I'm pulling out a shirt here. Nelson could come and pick it up whenever he wants to. It's a token of a troops
Solidarity?
for solidarity for Sporting winning the championship. So this is an actual vintage shirt. So it's an old shirt. So Nelson, it's all yours, my man.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. I'll definitely pick it up. Clean the
Uh,
dust.
well, our listener Nancy is asking, no
Oh, it's
jerseys
Nancy.
for us. It's no jerseys for George and I today. So we went white. We're raising the white
No,
flag.
we went. Oh, no, I was gonna say something, but no, I can't say it.
We're waving the white flag and it's over, right?
I was gonna say something else. I was gonna say it's somebody that just won a championship for like their first time. So that's what the white stands for.
Yeah. Well, there has been people that said that they're 18 and they're nervous. It's going to be their first time.
Os Sportingistas estão acostumados a ver lenços brancos. Today they get the white shirts from
They get the
from
white
the
shirts.
rivals.
I thought you guys were doing a wet T-shirt contest tonight.
We might be.
You know,
You never know. The night is still young, Nelson. The night is still young. All right. So we got Farense at 28 points, Boa Vista 30, Rio Ave 31, Maritimo 34. 6 points left to play. Is Maritimo safe, Nelson? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think they might be. Yes, I think they are. I think
All
I
right.
think I think Rio Ave is in trouble.
Well, because they play Porto next at home. George, is Rio Ave a concern for you to drop? Yes or no?
I was trying to look at my thing. I messed it up. My table here. So hold on. Liga Nosh table. Where the heck is it? My
George,
whole thing
you got to
reset
hear.
and not.
You got a message.
What you
Here's
got?
a message.
That's true. That's true. He does have it. Did Victor hear the comments from Ruben Amorim today?
No, I don't know. Did he? What was the comments? Let's talk. Let's start
He
with that.
said he says they have no time to rest. They need to start working on the 2040 season.
That's right. I mean, it's never too early to start on the 2040 season.
Yeah, well, that's the next year that they're going to win the championship.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, Molina's might not believe it, but Nelson, I don't know if you caught that. Did you hear that Ruben Amorim is starting to prepare for the 2040 season? I think the Puig is interfering with the communication.
That's right. All right. So your question about the other one. So
yeah, Boa Vista is at 30, Rio Ave at 31, Farense at 28. I mean, right now I'm really nervous for Farense. I'm really worried for Boa Vista. Boa Vista
well,
today.
the next two games are the next two 2 weeks. There's some interesting games down there that we spoke about, right? That might decide.
Yes. We do have some big games coming up. We have Boa Vista Portimonense. We have Farense Tondela. We have Famalicão Nacional. I think those are some big games right there. Belenenses took an important step today. I think they're safe. Their yard's safe.
Oh no, Belenenses is good. Belenenses is good.
They're fine. The final week is Santa Clara and Farense and Nacional Rio Ave. That's going to be the big one at the end. That's going to be.
No, I think it's Nacional Farense that are dropping.
I hate to agree with you, but I think I have to. Nelson, your thoughts on the drop zone?
I think it's Farense. I think it's Nacional for sure. And I'll be honest with you, like I'm just not sure who the team is going to play the playoff. I'm not sure if it's going to be Boa Vista or if it's going to be Rio Ave. But I think it's going to be Rio Ave, to be honest with you.
And you might be right because they have some tough games. Again, looking at the schedule, I don't know if you caught that, Nelson. For the following week, Boa Vista is hosting Portimonense, which is not an easy game. Portimonense has nothing to play for. There you can be relaxed. Farense has to host Tondela. Nacional is at Famalicão, which is also in some trouble, but they're somewhat safe. I think they're okay. The last week of the season, the big one is going to be Nacional and Rio Ave. So Rio Ave has some tough games left, and you might be right. Nacional might say, "Well, we're dropping, so we're playing spoiler."
Yeah, I think Rio Ave. I mean, they've played so bad lately, so bad. Like I think Boa Vista is going to beat Portimonense at home, and that will be the doom for Rio Ave.
And I think you're right. I don't think that they're going to be safe. It's going to be problematic for them, and it's kind of unfortunate because their team on paper looks pretty good. Defense is definitely suspect. Everything else is. And as for Boa Vista, George, were you expecting anything? Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll go into that. Let's start with the games from yesterday. Porto and Farense. Porto lined up with Marchesín in goal. João Mario, the surprise at right back. Pep, Mavemba, and Manafá. Otávio Gruitch, Uribe, and Luis Diaz, Taremi, and Martinez. For Porto, for Farense, it was Beto, Tavares, César, Scheid, Abner, Lika, Luca, Idrisi, Gold, Pedro, and I can't even pronounce that guy's last name, but Aruche or something like that. I don't remember what his name. Listen, Porto got a penalty early on. Lika with the handball. I don't think that it's really debatable. That it's a handball. I mean, the ball is crossed into the box. He has his arm extended. Otavio could have made a play on the ball. That's a penalty anywhere. I think that opened up things and made Porto a little bit more comfortable. The red card eventually came through. That was the first red card. It was at the 29th minute for Bilal. That was who it was. It was for Bilal in the 29th minute, but it was 3-0 prior to the red card. I thought it was earlier. I don't know why, but whatever. You forgot Lika yesterday played for Porto. Well, he also scored against Porto, so I know you're not going to mention that, whoever that Facebook listener is, but let's just make sure that you throw that in there and make sure you state all the facts, not what interests you. But as for Porto, I thought it was a very, very good dynamic performance. We definitely see the difference when we don't have Marega, that has already not signed with Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. After that, it was Tony Martinez. I think Tony Martinez and Taremi have looked pretty good together. Luis Diaz looked like the best of Luis Diaz since prior to the red card against Braga in the cup game. And Taremi was very fundamental with the goal and 2 assists. Those 2 assists were excellent. One thing I got to say about Marchesín was also the assist to João Mario on the last goal. There could have been more. I do want to mention as well that this was the first red card that Porto opponent received all season long. This was the first time that Porto played against 10 men all season long. We are in
And what
week
was the number of penalties?
32. We are in week 32. We are in
And
week
what was
32.
what was the number of penalties?
All, with the exception of the 2 that had no influence in the result, all of them were penalties.
Eu sei que está a poeira, mas não tem gás, não é preciso engasgar. Se precisares de uma máscara, eu dou uma máscara.
Eu também tenho. Eu tenho várias, por acaso. But
Okay.
that's basically what it is. It was a very good dynamic performance. I do like Grujic. I think Porto has to do something to try to sign him in some capacity, even if it's another loan. Pep Mabimba, I mean, excellent. Diogo Leite did come in. He did have a major mistake which led to a goal. Manafá was awful once again. Otavio, I thought, was very quiet in this match. The subs came in. We saw a lot of the kids. Baró, Fabio Vieira. He came in. Romario Baró, like I mentioned. Ivan Nilsson as well. Chico Conceição. I thought overall was a very good performance. Really not much to say. Nelson, what do you got to say about this game?
Well, listen, I mean, Porto got a penalty when Forense was still in the parking lot. When they were in the tunnel, they already had 3 yellow cards. I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, the penalty is a penalty. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not. And I'll be honest with you guys, what bothers me about that penalty, the defender is looking at the ball. The defender sees the ball coming, and his arm is still out. Like it's such a bad play by that defender.
And the ball is going out of bounds.
No, it's not. Obviously,
It's not going out of bounds.
Otavio was right next to him. Even
I know.
if his arm is extended on Otavio, how is that going to go out of bounds? So Otavio
It's not going to go out of bounds, but I'm saying the defender is still going to be there.
It's exactly. It's not on net. It's going to go out of bounds. If the ball passes through, it goes out of bounds.
But
like
I
said, he never sees it coming. He's not looking at the ball.
It's a horrible play.
It's just funny, right?
Horrible play.
Coincidence.
And then 3 yellow cards right away. 3 yellow cards right away. 6 minutes into the game, 3 yellow cards. The game was done. The game was over right there. I didn't even need to watch the rest of the game.
That must have been a world record, right?
You know, the game was over, and probably. But I'm not going to question the score. You know, like I knew Porto was going to win. I picked Porto to win. I knew they were going to win. But Farense did a horrible job. for a team that needed points, they did a horrible job, and easy win for Porto. Not much to say about that game.
George.
So I'll do a little recap. Porto against Marítimo. Penalty in the last minute by a former Porto player, right?
Who?
Porto Famalicão. Now the penalty by a player. See how many times the player that committed the penalty played for Famalicão. Now against Farense, a former player of Porto within the first 5 minutes of the game commits a penalty that there's absolutely no need for that penalty.
Yeah, but George, he's not looking at the ball. The ball drops and hits.
Oh no. He looked at the ball, bro.
No.
He actually
looked
looked
at
at
the
the ball before he extended his arm. Listen,
So-
I don't think that he was looking at the ball. It hits his arm, but it's a penalty. I mean, the cross is made.
Nobody is disputing that it's a penalty, Bruno.
And
I'm just highlighting some coincidence.
I don't think he
They're
did it on
coincidences.
purpose. I don't think he did it on
Yeah, they're
purpose.
coincidence.
But I do think it's a horrible play. But I don't think he did it on purpose.
As for the yellow cards, I mean, I understand, but fouls are fouls. There were hard fouls. That guy shied. I remember the last time Porto played, he should have been red carded and a penalty for that. So on a tackle on Marega when he kicks him to the chest. So I really don't think there's much to dispute about this one, correct, guys?
No, I don't think so either.
No, it goes down. So listen, we knew before the game was played, we knew what the score was going to be.
Okay.
Just looking at who the coach was on the other side.
No, because he did have an altercation with Pep at the end of the game, and he did mention stuff. So
Who doesn't have an altercation with Pep? The dead people in the cemetery have an altercation with Pep.
That's
Holy shit, my house is a
that's
mess.
bolão do caraças, pá.
Oh, no blow. No blow at all. Nothing at all.
Well, let's move forward
Just,
to Nacional 1, Benfica 3. Felipe was in goal. Freitas, Henrique, César, Cal, Vesta, Al-Hassan, Azuni, Riascos, Mendes, and Vigário. For Benfica, Leite, Júnior, Veríssimo, Otamendi, Tavares, Chiquinho, Pedrinho, Weigl, Servi, Seferovic, and Waldschmidt. George, a lot of changes in this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, Benfica has really nothing to play now for, right? I mean, I think the third place is secure. I think there's absolutely no chance. There was absolutely no chance before the game was played that we could get to second place. So it's some, I guess, Caballero is just trying to make some changes and and just play around with the lineups. So I mean, there's nothing, to me, nothing out of the ordinary.
Were you watching did you watch the game? Did you look at the performance or no?
I didn't really watch the game. I was listening to the commentary and watching it on, not watching it, but following it on the app, but I didn't actually get to watch the game.
Okay. How about
But
you?
it was,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
but it was we're losing 1-0 against Nacional until the beginning of the second half, I believe, or middle of the second half.
No, 70th minute. That's when you tied it.
70th minute. Yeah, 70th minute. So that just tells you how good we played against the last place team, which we usually struggle against last places. We don't do too well against last place teams. I don't know why.
George, hold on a second. You guys made several changes at halftime. One, so Pedrinho out, Everton in, Chiquinho out, Pizzi in, Servi out, Grimaldo in, Gilberto out, Darwin in. So 4 subs at halftime.
So I mean, look, it's we
Sorry,
put
three.
we put three starters back into the lineup. So is there could we have played better if they had started instead of being subbed in at in the second half? it's open for discussion, but I think that might have had something to do with it. When you're putting a lot of players in that haven't really gotten a lot of play time, into the game from the starting 11. But listen, at the end of the day, it's like this: we're playing Nacional, the last place team. We could have played with our C team, and we should have done better than losing 1-0 at 70 minutes of the game. So listen, I think at the end of the day, I think the players understand that there's really nothing to play for, right? And that might have an effect on it. Like for example, Sporting today wins, right? And they play Benfica. On top of being the derby, they're looking to go unbeaten. The whole season. So they even though they won a championship, they still have something to play for. And they're young kids. I'm sure they're not going to let their guard down. But Benfica really has nothing to play for. Benfica's spot is already cemented. They're not going up and they're not going down. And it's hard to get these players motivated now, especially towards the end of the season with a lot of games, coming from last season. A short preseason, right? A lot of games. It's hard to get these players motivated now. They're especially when they're spoiled and filthy rich players. They're not going to get motivated. So I predict the next, not the Sporting game. I think the Sporting game, it's always a derby. They're going to get up for that game. But like the last game of the season, it's going to be another mess. And nobody's going to care about that game.
Nelson, what did you think of this game?
So I only got to watch the first half. I didn't watch the second half. But the first half, if that score was 2-0 at halftime for Nacional, it would have been it would have been acceptable. Nacional had 3 good chances in the first half. Elton had a couple good saves. And if you look at the stats, at the end of the first half, it was like 7 shots for Nacional and 1 shot for Benfica. You know what I mean? He almost looked like Nacional was the
third place team.
Exactly. Like he was pretty embarrassing. And I was actually chatting with a couple of Benfica fans, and they're like, "This is embarrassing. Like the team is in last place. They almost have nothing to play for, and I feel like they're the ones in third place. It was pretty bad." Second half, I know Benfica had a goal disallowed right away, which was a good call. I did watch that play because that was like at the 49th minute. I did watch that play. There was a foul. It sucks because it's like the foul is like 30 seconds before the goal. You know what I mean? And then they got to go back and they got to call it back. But it's a clear foul. I mean, there's no disputing there, And then Benfica scored late. Apparently, Darwin had actually a good game, a couple assists, and I don't think Benfica has anything to play for. I think Porto has second place guaranteed. I think that's over. And but I know Benfica is going to try to beat Sporting next Saturday. I know that for a fact because they don't want us to go undefeated. But other than that, not much to say. Like Benfica just disappoints week after week, and plantel que custou 100 e tal milhões, you expect more from that team. I'm not a Benfica fan, but I can see the games. I know what I'm saying, and it's disappointing. Like you playing like George said, you playing the last place team, and the last place team looks like they're better than you. When one player from Benfica costs more than the entire team of of Nacional, so it's very bad. And I don't know what's going to happen. I know they don't want the president there. I know they don't want the coach there. But I think I think he's going to be there next season.
Urguido.
He'll be there. They'll both be there.
I agree. They will both be there. They have no other choice. George, one interesting thing. Gonçalo Ramos comes off the bench and scores 2 goals in 5 minutes. Go ahead. I know. I'm going to let you vent a little bit. I'm going to let you vent. Go ahead, buddy.
I'll be right back. I got to go back.
Go for it.
Jota, hey, make sure you turn the volume off. Make sure you turn the volume off.
Bro.
Don't be a Sportingista. No, look, it's where that kid's gonna end up somewhere else. He's gonna end up being sold at a saldo, and he's gonna end up being somewhere else.
That's what's gonna happen. And he's gonna have a tremendous career, I think.
No, I
He's
mean,
not
I
bad.
don't know.
He's not
He's
bad at
not
all.
bad. He's not
He's not
bad,
bad
but
at all.
you gotta give him run. Like for example, a game like this, right? You put all these stupid players. You put Pedrin. Why don't you put this kid starting? Why
Did he
doesn't
not
this kid
start last
start?
year? Hold on a second, George. Remind me, maybe you know this better than I do. Didn't he start last year against Obs at one of the last games of the season? He scored a couple of goals.
Yeah. No, I think last season he came in as a sub. He scored like 2 goals,
2 goals,
and then
right? I remember.
but I think he came in as a sub that game as well.
Right, but that just goes to show you that he produces in a short amount of time. He's kind of like um our version of Ivan Nielsen. He's probably the best finisher you have, and he scores the most amount of goals in the least amount of minutes played, which is
I,
very
you know,
frustrating
I,
for
I
us.
just have a problem with just these substitutes where you're just giving the players like this like 5-10 minutes to. You got to give them more time. Like okay, you can't start, fine, you can't start, all right. But like I don't get it. Like games where Benfica's winning 2-0, 3-0, 4-1, or whatever. Why don't you put the kid like right away?
Yeah,
Why do you wait until why is it that you don't put him playing number one? Or if you've put him playing, you give him like 5 minutes. For
yeah,
what reason?
right. No,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I feel you. Yesterday was the first time that, for example, Conceição, he found himself a couple of goals up, and he put the kids to play for an extended amount of time. Which I'm like, why can't this be done throughout the season? Why does it have to wait till now? I mean, Ferenc is not going to score 4 goals or whatever.
Exactly.
That's precious time for
Like like
young
like
kids
like
to play.
like 20 minutes, 25 minutes or whatever, you're up 3-0. I have time. You could put, 4 players or 5 players, whatever, 4 players, whatever, 5 players. You could give somebody playing time that he hasn't seen the whole season or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what those games are for. Like
Yeah, no.
you're not gonna lose against Valencia when you're up 3-0. That just ain't happening. That's not happening. So why don't you give playing time to some kids that haven't played the whole season? Like, preseason. What's the preseason? What advantages or what benefits are you going to get from taking 4 or 5 players to a preseason that we already know that they're not going to be in the plantel, or if they're in the plantel, é só para mercado. They're going to be playing. They're going to be playing in the B teams or in the juniors or whatever the hell. And é só para dizer, we're taking some B team players or juniors to do the preseason. It makes no sense.
They're just going to be practice players for the rest of the season because
it makes no sense. Like Gonçalo Ramos goes and practices with Benfica the whole season, the whole week, and then 99% of the times goes and plays the game for the B team. What the hell is that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of that with Porto right now as well. Porto has been sending some of these, but again, I'd like the fact that
Porto's for a different reason.
No, but João, I don't know. Like, yes and no. I know what you're saying, but João Mario and Romario Baró was to recover their confidence because they lacked confidence going. They lost their confidence after that Boa Vista game. Fabio Vieira, same thing. He lost confidence after the Boa Vista game. So I like the fact that he sent them down, they regained their confidence, and then he brought them back up, and he started to play them. João Mario, the last 2 games, both against Benfica and now against Ferenc, he got to start against Ferenc, and he had a really good performance. Hopefully this translates into next season. Baró, is still recovering, and it's more confidence with him about the leg than anything else. I'm really worried about his leg or his ankle with that injury that he sustained last year. So I think that's something that we got to see. All right, we're kind of just buying time because Nelson got bumped out, so we're trying to. Oh, there he is. All right, so we're gonna go into the. Já fizeste tudo que tinha a fazer, pá?
I'm all done. I'm all good.
Okay, that's mais leve or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Feel bad.
All right. George, we're gonna shift gears. Today, Sporting has clinched the title. Adan, Fedal, Coates, Inácio, Porro, Palhinha, João Mário, Nuno Santos, Mendes, Gonçalves, and Paulinho For Boavista, it was Leo, Cannon, Porozo, Rami, Devenish, Santos, Show, Perez, Hamash, Ellis, and Gomes. Nelson, please take it away. You guys won. Ended your 19 years. Fala.
Hold on. So, all right, let's talk a little bit. Thank you first of all. I mean, extremely happy, of course. You know what I mean? It's been 19 years, 18 seasons. I just want to remind everybody it's 18 seasons, 19 years, 18 seasons. It's not 20 years. I know 90% of Benfiquistas can only count to 5. I get that. They're not the brightest tools in the shed. I understand that. But it's 18 seasons, 19 years. Okay? Let's get that
it's 19 championships, not 23. I know Sportingistas can count up past 3.
No, this one counted as 5. Like, you do whatever. Listen, when you guys win a title, you do whatever you want. We won the title, we do whatever we want, okay?
Nunca vi penta ganho assim tão rápido, pá.
But that's how, like, when we do things, we make them special. You know what I mean? That's how we do. So, regarding the game, guys, I mean, listen, there was only one team that showed up to play. There was only one team that wanted to win the game. And that game should have been over by the 30th minute. There was no reason for us to suffer until the 90th minute. That game should have been over. I mean, we missed so many chances. And then the crazy thing is, like, the first shot the Boavista has, they almost scored. They could have scored. And Paulinho missed 4 or 5 goals. We hit the post 3 times. It was just a one-way game. I mean, Sporting, I'm actually very proud of them. The last 2 games, they came out like they wanted to win the game. They didn't want to wait. And even like that, we had to wait. But, you know, it was a one-way street. Sporting dominated the entire game. Dominated the game. And I'm glad Paulinho scored. You know, like, the guy, you know, for all the criticism that he got, you know, the guy came up big the last 2 games, even though today, oh my God, he could have scored 4 goals today, like easy goals, you know. But it was a well-deserved win. There was I don't think anybody can question that. I think it was just a very overall good performance, except for the finishing, and they deserve to be champs. I mean, like, I'm tired of hearing people saying they got lucky, this, that. Sporting deserves to be champs, and I mean, simple as that.
George.
No, I agree. I think Sporting is well deserves the championship. You know, a team that goes this deep in the season without a loss. You know, and you look at their away games, the amount of goals that they've suffered, and all that good stuff. You know, the Braga game, perfect example, playing -1 almost. You know, what was it, like 70 minutes, 80 minutes, 74 minutes. You know, and you know, going into the Dragão and pulling out a tie, whichever way they did it, but, you know, knowing that a tie was a good score for them. Look, I predicted Sporting to end up like 7th or 8th this season, and I think I'm not the only one that predicted them to really not have a really good season, knowing that there was going to be you know, on the investment side, we thought it wasn't going to be a big investment, especially after they got eliminated, you know, from the Europa League and all that good stuff. And they were able to, you know, we could say that it's only because they play 1 game a week. We could say that it's because there was no fans. We could say whatever we want. At the end of the day, nobody was ever able to beat them. Nobody beat them until now. No, nobody beat them. You know, you have center backs that were considered last season one of the worst players in the squad. You know, and this season ended up being probably the best player in the squad. You know, scored 2 or 3, you know, 90+ minute goals that got Sporting victories. You know, listen, there's not much you can say. There's really not much you can say. You know, a team that's been, you know, almost around 10 points advantage, you know, almost the whole season, you know, had a hiccup there for 4 games, you know, but they were able, you know, they had, you know, lucky for them, Sporting had a good cushion.
and some help. And some help.
But who didn't have help? What teams didn't have help? Benfica, you look at Benfica. Okay, Benfica played against 10 players, whatever the statistic is. Porto has the world record of penalties in a season.
No, in the falta. Sporting in the falta.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. But everybody's gotten help. Everybody's gotten help, and Sporting, I'm sure they got their share of help. And if we look at the whole season, we'll find games that Quat should have been red carded for elbows. We'll find all those things. But you're gonna find that in all the teams. You're gonna find that in all the teams. So at the end of the day, nobody's been able to beat them. At the end of the day, out of the three, they have the least expensive squad. At the end of the day, they have, they've been 18 seasons or whatever without winning a championship. So they have the additional stress or anxiety of that, and they were able to win. You got to give them props for it. I mean, yeah, you got to give them props for it. At the end of the day, that's my opinion. I don't think there's much argument that they were the best team, this whole season.
Nelson, anything more to say about your title?
Yeah, and just touching on one thing that George mentioned about playing one game a week. Listen, guys, this is not the first time Sporting's been eliminated from Europa League early in the last 19 years. This is not the first time. And in the past 19 years, I never heard anybody say, "Oh, Benfica foi campeão or Porto foi campeão." You Sporting So this year we can't say that either. You know what I mean? So because for 19 years, there was a lot of years that we got kicked out early. And we were in champs. So that cannot be used as an excuse. The only excuse that I can see anybody even bring up, it's the fans in the stands. I think it makes a big difference. I think we have a very young squad. I think, not having fans in the stands alleviated pressure a lot.
Yeah.
That I can see. Other than that, I don't want to hear excuses about less games. I don't want to hear that because for 19 years, there was a lot of times we played less games and we still sucked.
Nelson, I think it was 10 less you guys played in comparison to Porto and Benfica.
And Bruno, if you go look back, I'm sure you're going to find another year that we played 10 less games and we still sucked.
No, I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just throwing that as a stat.
I'm
throwing that as a stat.
I just want to say,
and that wasn't my excuse. I'm just saying what people are saying. Stuff that people could say.
I think, guys, eu tenho que dar os parabéns ao Ruben Amorim. I think the guy was fantastic. I think he did it. I think there was a period like that we discussed in a few, a few weeks ago, we discussed about him changing the system. But if you look, last couple of weeks, he changed the system back. He went back to what was working before. He finally realized that he needed to go back to that system, and he did that. And listen, Kowats last year was scoring on goals. This year, he was scoring critical goals for us.
Yeah,
the guy went from being horrible last year to probably being the best center back in Portugal this season.
Stop repeating my analysis.
I'm very professionally.
I'll play.
So I think listen, o Sporting está de parabéns. I think that even Varandas, the guy's been criticized so bad. You know what I mean? And he delivered a title to Sporting. I don't think anybody did this. I was probably one of the few that we had a chance. Everybody told me I was nuts. But listen, these young kids came up big. I don't know how bad Porro is injured. But you saw, you saw when Porro. Don't cry, Bruno. Next season you can try.
I'm blowing my nose, and I think I have a cold.
And I was gonna say, Porro, you saw just by the way, when Porro left the field today, you saw how much passion these players actually have for the team. Porro was crying like a baby when he got, when he got injured. You know what I mean? I think the team is very united. There's actually a great video today that I'll share with you guys. I'll share on the group. There's a great video today from before the game. Varandas was talking, Ruben Amorim was talking, Coates was talking. I mean, you get chills as a Sporting fan. You get chills just watching that. I think it's the most united Sporting I've seen in a long time, and I think that was big. I think that played played a very, very big key part.
I think that's very accurate. I think that's you didn't hear the whole season. People that were against the Direção and this and that. There was nothing of that. But unless
Even
But
Bruno Carvalho came out.
Yeah.
Even Bruno Carvalho came out today and he said, "Isto não é dia de divisões or something like that."
Well, I mean, there's against facts. There's no disputing. I mean, the guy, after 19 years, the guy brought a championship to Sporting. Like, who's gonna dispute that? Who's gonna dispute that? Is and with a young team. He didn't go out and buy crazy players or anything like that. I was listening to I was watching when Nelson is watching. I was watching the beginning of it, and the reporters were saying, not even the reporters, like Sportingistas, Fernando Mendes on CMTV, he was saying, dude, I was the last one to expect that this would happen. Fidal, I didn't know who Fidal was. I didn't know who the hell he was. I didn't know who these players. I didn't know who these players were, and they come in and they're very humble. They work their butts off. They're united, like Nelson said. You didn't hear anything, like other years. Other years you hear about rumors about stuff in the balneario and then stuff in the direções and this guy that wants this guy's place and the freaking what are you talking about the Lençóis up in Marquês de Pombal in Academia, wanting people out. In this season, nice and quiet. There was no issues, and the players delivered.
And another thing on that, George, like when Nuno Santos went to the bench, when Thiago Tomás went to the bench, I saw a lot of videos of the players before games and stuff, and they were like all still hugging each other, like, you know what I mean? Usually, like when that happens in Sporting, somebody gets relegated to the bench. That shit becomes like a nightmare right away. You know what I mean? And this year, even though I saw these guys sitting on the bench pushing their teammates, you know what I mean? Like pushing for them, you know what I mean? Even though they were relegated to the bench, that would not happen in another season.
You don't have the egos, right? Because they're the young kids. The young kids, they're just freaking happy that they're not playing for the juniors, that they're playing for the A team. So whether they're at the and hungry. So whether they're at the bench or they get to play 5 minutes or 20 minutes or a full game, they're freaking happy. They're playing. These are kids that have been at the club since they were 5-6 years old. They're playing for their Equipa do Coração. They're just happy to be there. So and then something, dude. You got to give these people credit. You got to give whoever made the decision to bring these players. You got to give them credit. You go get them.
Wasn't it Uviana that got him in?
I don't know about that. You go get Fidal. They're very experienced central. Never really did anything in any team that he was in. But I guess Ruben Amorim felt that he fitted in his three fullback formation. Went to get him. Went to get Antunes, a player everybody said that he was done, and he was done, right? He's not one of the best players. Experience. End of the season or midway to the season, went to get João Pereira. We all know that João Pereira is not the same. He doesn't have the legs, right? But in the balneario, he's always been a very, very respected player that has history in the club, right? We all know his passion. Whatever team he represents, he always represents with passion. So you got Quach from last season. You got Adan, that freaking Adan, another one that could be considered the MVP of this year of Sporting. So you got like these like 5 like senior players that with a lot of experience, and then you mix the quality and the hunger of these Nuno Mendes, Palhinhas, Tete, like Bragança, these players, and you get this. And then on top of that, you get a coach that believes in these young players. That's where his passion is, right? Because he comes from the youth system. He came from coaching, youth teams, right? And you mix it all together, and then on top of that, you gotta, again, I'm not making excuses, but I think Benfica and Porto really had a really off season this year as well. But at the end of the day, it's what you make of it, right? And dude, you can't dispute it. You can't dispute the championship. It's very well deserved. We always we bust balls here all the time, but I think it's a very very well deserved championship. One of the maybe in the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, probably the one that's more clear and dry, that of who should be the champion this year.
Nelson, enviaste uma medalha lá pro agente Macron ou não?
No, no need for that.
No need.
for that. Nah. Well deserved. I'm watching it live right now. This is pretty awesome. Like fucking, even though they got Marquez shut down, there's thousands and thousands of fans all over.
Well,
the
that's
streets.
actually one thing I need to criticize as a Portista. I have to criticize this because last year our fans tried to go out with masks and try to celebrate, and they were encountered by the police beating them down and chasing them away. That's men, women, and children got beat up by the police. And this year, nothing was said. It's all a free for all. I don't care if it's 19 years or not 19 years. Rules are rules, right? Well, apparently in this government in Portugal doesn't see it that way. It's dois
No,
pesos, duas medidas.
Bruno, they
And
beating
that's
up
how
the
it was.
fans right now, Bruno. I'm watching them beat up fans right now. So you mistaken
No,
because I'm
they're
actually
not.
watching them.
They're not beating up fans, Nelson.
They
The
are.
fans. Look, no,
No,
before
if you go to Sporting
before
TV right
the.
now, if you go to
No,
Sporting TV right now,
I'm watching it too. I'm
they
watching it
just
too
got
on
back. They
my.
just got away from it. They were beating up the fans right
No,
now.
I'm watching it on my iPad too. I'm as we're doing this, I'm watching it.
They were just beating up
Number
the fans
one-
right now. I just saw them beat up the fans. That's why-
Number one before the game, this wasn't supposed to happen before the game. They actually suspended this whole thing during the game. That's when the decision was made to put some fences around and stuff like that. When the bus was about to leave the Alvalade, the police stopped it because there was already fighting in one of the parts that they were supposed to pass. So they actually detoured. They made a different I guess they mapped a different way to go about it.
Listen, it's time to open up
and
everything.
these-
It's time to open up everything. This shit is done. This shit is all fucking BS. Just open up things. I don't know how they expect it to stop.
Especially Portugal. I was talking today to someone. I didn't even know, but it's like one death a day. There was a couple of days this week that there was no deaths.
How did they expect that they were going to stop this? Like, honestly, how did they expect it? They would have to get all the cops from Portugal and all the cops from Spain. I mean, there's no way they were going to be able to stop all these people. It's impossible. Impossible. And this is
And I
a
think
joke.
I think this makes it worse. The way
This makes it worse.
them
That's what I was gonna say.
trying
This
to
is a joke.
confine people and cage people. You're just making it worse.
That's what I'm saying. This is a joke. This is making things a lot worse than they need to be. And I mean, listen, if I was in Portugal, I'd be in the middle of all this shit right now. So, listen, I came from a lot of those Leões. There was no masks. We were all on top of each other. We were all screaming.
Oh, yeah, I
Epa.
saw it. I passed by too. I saw it.
Listen,
Tá em cima de quem, pá?
it's people's choices. Let people live their life. If they want to risk it, let them risk it. But stop trying to control people. Like, that's not how the world works.
Hey, is this true, Nelson? This is I don't know who this is. Na última vez que o Sporting foi campeão, Nelson ainda se levantava de manhã sem dores nas costas.
Yeah, agora é no pau. But that is actually pretty accurate. Like, I had no back pain back then. That is actually very true. Who said that? I don't even know who said that, but it's true.
É o Hugo de Carvalho.
Mais portista.
Well, he did say something, Hugo. I mean, Nelson. Hugo mentioned that o Sporting dá 10-0 a qualquer outro clube com gajas boas. That's what he said.
Oh, okay, there we go. Now we're talking.
So, ele disse para ir roubar uma Sportingista, ele tá he's all there.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean, like George said, this is making things worse. This is not going to stop. They were not going to keep these fans at home tonight. after 19 years, they were not keeping these fans at home. Simple as that. I mean, I don't care what they say or what they tried. There's no way they were going to keep them at home.
Well, I mean,
They
Nancy's
would have to shoot
mentioning
them.
one thing Nancy's saying, the problem is that not only you are risking yourself, but others around you. That's why there's still rules of confinement.
I understand, Nancy.
I do understand that the argument is that people are voluntarily going out, so you're putting yourself at risk. You're making a choice to go out there. There are Sportingistas that I know that did not go to Lisbon to celebrate for this particular reason, because they want to avoid the big crowds, because we all know what's going to happen after this.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah, I
know
mean,
that.
I think what Nancy's trying to say is that, you know, it's not, you know, if you decided to go to Largos Leões and be on top of each other, in Nelson's words, and you got sick and you didn't affect anybody else, you know, great. The problem is that you're going to affect other people because you work with other people, you know, you go to restaurants where other people are, you have family members, you know, so that's the problem.
But they go, George. Restaurants are open, so if it's not here, it's there. And listen, you don't want to go out. You scared? Stay home for the rest of your life. Don't ever go out again.
Leasta, I need you to read this and confirm, because this is inquiring minds want to know.
It was more like 3 or 4, to be honest with you. It was like a 6-hour marathon.
Agora já não.
Now it's like a YouTube clip. I just think, listen, I mean, I've been out since this all started, so I was always against all this shit. But I get listen, I respect everybody's opinions. I just think it's time for people to live their lives. And if you're really that scared, don't ever go out. Lock yourself in a basement, order food, tell them to leave the food outside, and just stay in the basement for the rest of your lives. I don't want to live like that, and I don't give a shit.
Well, I mean, it's everyone's prerogative, but I mean, the only thing I disagree with was last year. Porto fans wanted to celebrate, and again, same situation. They put themselves out there. They took the risk voluntarily. No one's putting a gun to their head to go celebrate. They wanted to celebrate, and the police came and they cracked on the fans, both men, women, and children. So, I know Juicebox is thinking that I'm trying to make it a all Porto thing. Well, no, I want it to be uniform. I want it to be, because this year we saw Benfica fans able to meet the bus and greet the bus and do all this other stuff. Porto fans were closed down. Porto fans were always closed all throughout the season. You can go back and look at the history, and the clubs from the capital were different. They were just treated different, and I want to know why. And no one can tell me why. That's all. Those
type of decisions, they don't come from the capital. So I don't. You guys always try to make it about North and South, and that's why there's so much hate. It's because it's always made about North and South. It's always made about Porto and the capital and this and that. That it's like there's no need for that, because those decisions to who can celebrate, who can't celebrate, there's PSP Porto, there's PSP Lisboa. It's made from the region. It has nothing to do with Lisbon. It's not the government that makes that decision.
Well, then it's Clubes Agudas in the government, so, or whoever, police. I don't know where it is. Where there's someone that has authority, and they treat fans differently. That's what I'm trying to say. So when you hear Portistas talking about that, complaining about it, this is an example, a prime example of what happens. The difference between the treatment. All right.
What is Bruno saying? Bruno's saying that I'm still waiting for the congrats. He must have missed the first minute of the show. He needs to go back and rewind.
Yeah, he has to. I told him that he has to listen to the first 30 seconds.
I think ele já está com o pensamento do Leitão que nos tem que comprar, que já anda com amnesia.
Olha, o Captain says that os adeptos do Norte são mais violentos. Hey, listen, Captain, I'm going to tell you this. Ready? O teu clube É glorioso, mas é glorioso em mortes. Mais nada. And that's all I gotta say about that. Quem é mais violento é o vosso, não é o meu. E
Já chateaste o Nelson que ele já se foi embora.
No, you guys couldn't hear me. Like I was talking, but you guys couldn't hear me.
Oh, I thought you were trying the 6-hour marathon.
No, I was going like this and everything because you guys couldn't hear me. No, I was just
What
going to
happened?
say something, Bruno. I was going to say last year when Porto was champs, that was like when this show was really going on too. So it's a little different than this year. You know what I mean? I think, but I get your point. I get your point. But it was also a little different. I mean, we were at the height of this fake virus. You know what I mean? So it's like it was a little different.
I don't know. I don't know if it's fake. That's a different story. Bruno, now let's actually talk about this because this has been brought up in a lot of different platforms about Sporting celebrating their 23rd title. Benfica would then have, they would still be at 37, right, George?
I
No,
think
No?
we'd be at 30. I think we'd be at 37 and Porto at 33.
Yes. Is that right?
no.
I think I don't think we
Benfica,
would
I
have
think
it.
Benfica will get a couple more. No?
I don't think they would have a couple
I'm
more.
not
no.
sure.
I'm not 100% certain. Maybe there is a listener out there that might have it, but I think if I am correct, I know Steph knew this from the back of his hands, but I want to say I know Porto would have 33 right now because they would add 4 more from the Liga Portugal or whatever it's called from back in the day. Belenenses would have, I think, an extra 4. Marítimo would have 1. Olhanense would have 1. Carcavelinhos would have 1. And Benfica would have the same 3. So the one that Benfica added plus 3 a couple of years ago, or a while back now, would only be substituted with the current 3 that they have. So they would still be, I think, at 37, if I'm not mistaken.
Or you're saying take away the 3 from Benfica and then give them the 3 from this? What are you saying?
Yeah, because the ones that Benfica added, those 3 extra ones that Benfica added, was because of another league that was doing one simultaneously.
Correct.
Am I right, George? Am I explaining that correctly?
No, you did. I think it was 2005 when they added those 3.
But it was
Yes.
yeah.
I think you're right. It was they went from 27 to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, it's like who knows with Benfica? I don't even know what year they were founded. Like it's so many lies. It's like you try to catch up to everything. It's like
Oh boy.
you know, like
Well, I don't know, but I do know that's been a debate. I know the federation is coming to a conclusion, quote unquote. That's what they said, coming to a conclusion on that. Let's see what's going to happen with it because that's going to be very interesting. Because I don't think Benfica has nothing to lose. Sporting, Porto, and all these other clubs have something to gain if they're able to get those extra couple of titles. The one thing I do question about my club, and we had a debate on that on the Porto chat today, was why doesn't Porto push so much for this? The only thing I can really think of is it wasn't under Peter Costa's rule, so I don't think he really cares.
so. Now let me ask you a question though, like a very important question actually. So if they do decide, okay, let's give Porto titles and let's give Sporting titles, right?
Mhm.
Does that mean next year when we win 6 in a row?
No.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure, in case we break the records.
Meu Deus do céu.
Já ganhaste penta hoje, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to break the record next year.
Isso, Jesus. Ó, Jorge, estás a ouvir isto, pá?
We're gonna be
Fica sem palavras.
we're gonna be the first team in Portugal to win 6 in a row. Like, that's awesome.
You know, it's not easy to keep George speechless, but I think you
Pois nós é que não sabemos contar.
I'm just saying, like, it's possible. Like, it was definitely a good week for Sporting. Futsal champions, you know.
It actually has been. You're right.
You know,
It has been a good week for
Now-
Sportingistas.
now we beat Benfica in basketball 2 games in a row. so they're about to be out. Goodbye. We did let Porto win the. Porto is about to win the handball title. We gave them that,
You gave him that.
but we did. Yeah, we were up 5 goals in the second half, but but Sporting actually did a very nice deed at the end of the game when they presented
Yes.
the Porto players with a Quintana plaque.
Yes.
That was pretty nice, and it's been a good week for Sporting, I must say.
For Sporting, it has been a pretty good week. You got to enjoy it because it doesn't happen. It happens what? When's the next comet supposed to fly over, George?
I don't know.
Next
2040.
year.
2040. 2040.
2040. Yeah. So we may not see this for another several years.
You guys might be shocked. It might happen again next year. Next year.
I already predicted your Champions League record.
Listen, I can tell you one thing. We cannot be worse than the guy sitting next to you. That's for sure. That's impossible.
0 pontos.
Oh, by the way, talking about Champions League, since you brought it up real quick, I want you guys to say, Nelson, you were right. O Sporting vai ser cabeça de série, just so you guys know.
They are going to be number one seed.
We're going to be in the pot one, yes.
Pot one, yeah. Pot one.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, because I
Pot
think
one.
number 3, actually, pot 3. They're actually going to be in the pot 1.
That has to do with the league ranking coefficient.
There you go. Okay.
No, that I'm asking.
No, I think it does. Yes, I think it does. It has to do with the coefficient. So Sporting is going to be like, we're going to avoid like all the big teams, Man City and all that stuff.
Just be careful with Lask.
Mas cuidado para vocês com o PAOK, que você esteja na pré-eliminatória.
Olha, não sei, eu acho que já que o Benfica é que é culpado por tudo, eu acho que os no name boys andam aí pro Marquês de Pombal, because all I see is Sporting issues laid out on the floor.
I told you.
George, Nelson, I don't think PAOK made it to Champions League.
No, I don't think they made it either. So they might get stuck with somebody else.
Krasnodar?
You never know.
Apoel?
Olha o Molingas. O Molingas não sabe contar. Não sabe contar. Oh, Molingas, you want to add those to 23, you got to give Porto the other 4. That equals 33, banana. Eu já te avisei. Não estou cá toda a vida para te ensinar.
All right, guys. Let's make predictions for next week, man, because I got to go watch this.
Pois, eu sei. Já tá.
This shit only happens once every 19 years. Come on.
I agree. Vamos lá, os predictions. So we got next week, we got a couple of interesting games. Paços Ferreira de Vicente, Braga, Moreirense, Boa Vista, Portimonense. Farense Tondela, George, what do you got?
Farense, Tondela?
Farense Tondela.
Tondela, 1-0.
Ui! Wow. Nelson Litra, what do you got?
I think Farense will win, even though it doesn't matter. I think it's going to be 1-0 Farense.
I'm going to say 2-1 Farense. Benfica Sporting. George, you're the home team. Go ahead.
2-0 Benfica.
Oh, you give them the first loss. Nelson.
I think it's actually we're gonna go in there with our hair painted green, no salão de festas, like celebrate another day, and I think we're gonna tie the game 1-1.
Yeah, I think I'm actually I'm leaning toward a 1-1 game, or I'll say 2-2. I don't wanna take your score, so 2-2. All right, Rio Ave Porto. I will go. Porto wins. If Mariga doesn't play, 3-0 Porto. Nelson.
I say Porto will beat them. Rio Ave is definitely done. I say 2-0 Porto.
Jorginho.
5-0, 3 penalties for Porto.
I like that. I hope they're all from outside the box.
Mhm.
Famalicão Nacional, George.
Famalicão. 3-1.
Oof. Nelson.
2-0 for Maliko.
I'm gonna go 1-0 for Famalicão. Bulletin Santa Clara, Marítimo, Vitória de Guimarães ends up the week. This is all between Saturday and Sunday of next week. We do have some games on Friday, but that's for our friend David Pereira, Braga Moreirense, and Passo Freire Gil Vicente. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for this week. An hour and 4 minutes in. Sporting is crowned champion. We want to make it clear, right, George? We want to make it clear that we want to congratulate all the Sportingistas, right, for their title. We want to make sure that we do make it clear. We don't want to give Bruno Rodrigues an aneurysm or a conniption. Until next week, we'll figure out. We'll announce when we're going to be when we'll be playing our show. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you're nice to someone. That makes a world of a difference. Nelson, enjoy your party, all right, buddy?
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Sportinguistas, parabéns para vocês todos.
6 hours.
A Rua.
Who?
Não aperta o pescoço.
6 hours. 6 hours.
All right, guys. Have a good week. We'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Later. Bye.